what the steward panel has judged. Then we can discuss it 50-50, 70-30, 80-20, whatever we can talk about. But I mean, they both did something that they shouldn't do, probably. So okay, let's move on and let's try to avoid. I mean, I think it was also a good opportunity to have this type of meeting, to send the message, to underline, and just try to be smarter next time.
We always say if Ayagura can be fast on a Friday morning, then his competitors need to be scared. So often he builds into a weekend. So you must have been quite pleased to see him up there this morning.
Yeah, of course. It's very strange to see P1 in such a high position. So I hope it's a good start of the weekend. Yeah, no, I think he's feeling good. Now we're trying different things, trying different tires. Then we see. We have to go for the time attack, which is one of the, you know how important it is now on Friday afternoon. It's coming hot, so that's good for I. He likes a hot condition, so let's see. Let's go step by step and try to do the good weekend.
And just finally looking to next year, it looks as though the picture looking a bit clearer at Trackhouse for 2027. Enea Bastianini intimating that he's very close to agreeing a deal. On the other side, how many rounds does Raul have to prove himself to make sure that he remains here? Because it feels as though that the clock is ticking now.
Yeah, no, about riders, that's many things going on. It's not that clear. Yeah, now also we are talking to different riders. And of course, Raul, I think for Raul, it's not a matter of 1 race, 2 race, 3 race. I mean, we're racing together by 3 years, so I think he knows very well the team knows very well him, and it's just a matter to take a decision, sit down and take a decision.
Obviously, we know you're not with the team next year. How involved are you in those discussions? Are you still trying to offer your advice on what you think the best way forward is for the team?
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, I wanted to be very fair with the team, to tell them that I won't be here because I wanted to avoid to go into discussion and then say, oh, sorry, I'm leaving. So then maybe we anticipated too much somehow, but I felt it was the fair way, the correct way to do. So yes, I won't be here. And Justin is now taking over the negotiation. We chat each other. He asked me my opinion. I give my idea, my opinion, and then it's his call.
Thanks, Davide. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks, as always, to current Trackhouse Prelivos, Davide Brivio. As always, a very interesting chat down in pit lane with Davide. Still no official confirmation. Not a lot of rumours. It seems to have gone a little bit quiet on who may be stepping into the big shoes to fill at Trackhouse. The American team rather reluctantly seeking a new team manager. Names like Wilco Zeelenberg has been mentioned, Francesco Guidotti, of course, both of those two I've seen already here this weekend in the paddock. Johan Stigefeld, who's got MotoGP managerial experience as well. I've seen Stiggy knocking around here this weekend in Mugello, so I don't think Trackhouse are going to be lacking options. It's just which direction Justin Marks feels like is the best way for them to go moving forward. Moving forward at a rather fast rate is Pecco Bagnaia, who is his teammate Marc Marquez then now powering up towards 360 kilometres an hour. That's going to be really testing the strength and mobility of that recovering right shoulder when you're grabbing a handful of brakes from the fastest speeds pretty much recorded, well, they are in MotoGP history, down to what is a pretty tight second gear first corner, the right-hander. No better workout for his upper body than that one for the 93.
And many riders do describe Mugello as one of the most physical circuits we go to on the calendar. So if you're going to choose somewhere to make your return from injury, particularly an upper body injury, perhaps this wouldn't be the one. But Marc Marquez, understandably keen as quickly as possible to get himself back aboard that factory Ducati. Of course, a weekend that means so much to the factory as they celebrate their centenary, and they will do so by we're essentially sporting a mashup of 10 of their favourite liveries and famous liveries of the past on Sunday for the Grand Prix.
Well, in recent history, Ducati have rocked up to their home circuit and almost expected a victory. As we said this morning, they've won 7 of the last 8 Sunday battles here in front of their home crowd. Of course, there's a dedicated Ducati grandstand as always at Corantaio, turn 12. They'll still be hoping to see one of the red bikes firing at the front here on Sunday. A 23-lap Brembo Grand Prix of Italy as we pick up Mark then now through Biondetti 1 and 2. That classic battle he had here, what, 10 years ago now. Is it really 10 years ago since that famous fight with Hoy Lorenzo back in 2016, which still remains, I think, the 8th closest finish in Premier Class history. What a fight that was. I think they passed each other 4 times on that last lap. Mark still fighting for more wins in the present day and the glorious clear blue skies. He finds a 1:47.686.
19 thousandths of a second separated Lorenzo and Marquez on that particular afternoon. One of the classic final laps. Mark's been in a few of them, it's fair to say, around this circuit. 2019, he was in the meat of a factory Ducati sandwich where Danilo Petrucci memorably claimed his maiden MotoGP victory in that battle with Mark and with Andrea Dovizioso. So if we get anything like as good a finish as that on Sunday afternoon, then we're in for an absolute treat.
And that's when Petrucci was sick as a dog. I remember he was riddled with flu, climbed off his sick bed. There's nothing quite like a race-winning trophy in front of your home crowd to be the perfect medicine. As we follow Diogo Moreira then on the number 11 LCR Honda, going through the gearbox, as you can see there, with his left foot over the start-finish line. Moreira goes. Yeah, still not been able to find a 1:45, but he's mighty close to it. Is the Brazilian. And he's still keeping himself inside that top 10, 8th place at the moment for Moreira.
We get to see him in a qualifying 2 session so far. He's come close in a few Q1s, qualified 14th already on a few occasions this season as Moreira. As we're picking up Bastianini here with an interesting experience through Baccini.
Pogo stick on the rear of that KTM Tech 3 machine coming out of that final corner. A final corner where 2 years ago he rubbed salt into Jorge Martin's wounds on the same weekend that Jorge Martin started the 2024 Italian Grand Prix, convinced he'd got a factory Ducati seat. It ended with Ducati informing him that he hadn't got that seat and kicking him while he was down. He got passed at the very last corner for 2nd place by this rider, Enea Bastianini, who was then a factory Ducati rider. What a sensation that must be. Front wheel in the air over the blind crest down the hill into San Donato at 358 kilometers an hour, over 220 miles an hour. Front wheel in the air for Enea Bastianini. That is what separates the elites, the best of the best in MotoGP, from just your normal mere mortals, as Enea's crew look on. How's the beast getting on? Not too bad actually, 5th place, so 1:45.801 from Enea.
Here's Iagora, who looks like he's potentially going a little early here, trying to get a lap time on the board. He and Marco Bezzecchi are both out there on brand new medium front, brand new soft rear tyres. Of course, we've often seen practice sessions in the latter stages disrupted by traffic, disrupted by yellow flags. So potentially Iagora trying to get himself ahead of the game here and get a lap time on the board. And if he's not delayed by Fabio Quartararo's Yamaha in the final corner, he might get a little bit of a slipstream from it.
Yeah, at the moment, this won't make a pretty reading for Quartararo, but amazingly, his factory Yamaha is 16 Ks down on Enea Bastianini's fastest recorded speed so far today. I mean, it's not even a fair fight, is it? It's no contest. As Agura just blitzes by Fabio Quartararo. It's like taking candy off a baby, wasn't it? Agura then now is fastest, a 1:45.667. So Agura's having a fantastic Friday, isn't he? Normally so slow out the gate. 3rd quickest this morning and now in P1.
He won't be there for long, though, because look at this from Marco Bezzecchi as the World Championship leader is about to stamp his authority on this Italian Grand Prix. He's got the KTM and Maverick Vinales punching a lovely hole in the air for him. And Bezzecchi down to a 45.024. He suddenly puts 6/10 into the opposition.
Just looking at the top speeds, Diogo Moreira, he would not have even come anywhere near 355 kilometres an hour in his Grand Prix career. Maybe last time out in Barcelona, but a very rare experience. But he's been touching those kind of speeds for Diogo Moreira. You've got to be so brave, so committed on the brakes into that San Donato corner. Commitment not lacking there for Agura as he had the big head shake as he threw that Trackhouse Aprilia onto his right-hand side going through Arrabbiata 2. That was just absolutely spectacular watch from the outside for Agura. I'm not sure what it was like to be on top of. Oh, well, he's going all in here, isn't he, Ayagura? This is. I mean, he's been out of shape at Arrabbiata too. He's been out of shape now at Corantayo. It's a scrappy lap. It's a messy one, but it's fast again.
Yeah, once again, the left elbow almost on the ground there as he tips it into Biondetti. And how much time has he lost? Quite a bit as it happens. He's lost 0.3 of a second through that third sector. Most of it will have been lost at Corantayo. As you mentioned, it's a committed lap, but at the moment it's not as quick as the World Championship leader who's 0.6 up the road.
He has been loose. He's been very loose on that lap, hasn't he, Hayagura? Well, at the moment, all is going very, very swimmingly as far as the Championship Challenge concerns. Our most recent Grand Prix was in Catalunya. Of course, we're talking about Portimao Enduro VR46 Racing. Fabio Di Gianantonio looking strong once again here in front of his home crowd. Can they go back-to-back in 2026? Let's get the thoughts of the boss, Pablo Nieto with Jack.
Yeah, that's the big question. We've been saying all year is one of the men of the moment is Fabio Di Gianantonio, and it really rolled through in that Barcelona Grand Prix. It's the question all the people are asking at the moment. Have you got yourselves a genuine title contender in Fabio Di Gianantonio, Pablo?
It's a very good question, but I think the strategy that we have to be is race by race. This is just the beginner. You never know what happened here in MotoGP. It's very difficult, but also it's true that we are working in a very good way.
We'll come back to you, Pablo. We just had a big crash out there for Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah, we've got a red flag here. Jack's really, really sorry for cutting into Pablo Nieto. We'll pick it up as soon as we possibly can. But Fabio Quartararo's crashed factory Yamaha right on the racing line, race direction, having no choice whatsoever to throw the red flag. You could see there Quartararo kicking gravel. He was frustrated as he walked away from the scene of the crime.
As he lost the front there through the left, and the bike's then tumbled through the gravel trap and has ultimately come to a rest on the racing line. See gravel everywhere across the entire width of the racetrack. We'll hopefully get a replay shortly. Quartararo was okay. You saw him walking away and rather angrily kicking the gravel trap as he trudged away from the scene there down at the Materazzi corner, favouring his left arm. Of course, he had a famous crash here last year where his shoulder came out. Is he going to lose the front? He is. Immediately parts company with a bike, which is then going to cartwheel its way back onto the racetrack and shedding some rear aero with it.
Yeah, he gave a bit of a kiss there on the helmet for Fabio as well. Yeah, it certainly looks like he's going to have some abrasions, some bumps. Remember last year he dislocated his shoulder, had to get the marshals to push it back in, didn't he? Okay, then, so red flag, the Quartararo incident at turn 4, clean-up operation required. So first of all, apologies and thanks as always to his patience. Let's pick it up once again with Jack and Pablo Nieto.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Thanks for your patience, Pablo. I think the guys in the commentary did you guys a favour then. They just let Fabio go, so a bit of unwanted cardio for the mechanics there in this heat. As you were saying, what a moment that Fabio is in, but you want to try and keep everybody's feet on the ground.
Yeah, it's very important, no? Because this is very long. Of course, we have to think that we are in a very good moment, and we have to try to keep working like this, because in the end of the season it's going to be really, really important. Try to be constant, and then we will see what happens, no? Because in the end only wins one, so we have to try to make our best.
Where do you think this spark has come from so far this year? It's obvious the talent has always been there, but in previous years has maybe been struggled to find that consistency. So what has been the key to that spark and that consistency this year?
Yeah, I think the main point was last year in the winter test. We have the injury with him. He broke the collarbone, and we couldn't make the winter test, no? And we start just a little bit late from the other riders. So this year we make a very good winter test. We was working really, really good, and it's really important to try to keep the best setup in that period. And in the end we found it. We didn't change a lot of things, and this is very important, because also the most important thing I think in MotoGP for the riders is try to be in the same bike, no? Sometimes happen that every time that the rider is going out from the track, different setup, different bike, so he must think about the bike, about the setup, and he's not thinking about the rider style, and we are very, very focused on that.
We saw a video after the victory where Valentino put his arm around Fabio and said, "Are you sure you want to leave?" What did he mean by that?
I don't know what he mean about that. Of course we wanted to keep it. It's going to be difficult, because also we have to understand that the goal for a rider is try to be a factory rider, and at the moment he's a factory rider, but he's not in a factory team. So, but I think we are better.
Yeah, Valentino told us in Barcelona that you've got 4 riders as candidates: Frankie Morbidelli, Luca Marini, Celestino Vietti, and Nicolo Bulega. Are they all still in contention, or have you managed to shorten that list down?
Yeah, they are very interesting for us, no? Of course, at the moment we have to be calm to try to make a decision, because already we know that all the riders are very fast, very fast, but we have to think about our project, about Ducati, about everything, but still everything open. So at the moment we have to check everything, and we have to check how it's going the races.
Thanks, Pablo. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks once again to VR46 Ducati boss Pablo Nieto. Yes, as Valentino did in that great interview with Jack Kaplucka in Barcelona, confirming it will be one of 4 Italians that will be joining those ranks next year. I think Nicolo Bulega, who has been fielding constant questions about his future over in the Aragon World Superbike round this weekend, said basically it's going to be down to what Valentino decides in terms of his future. Of course, they are pretty close. He was a former VR46 Academy member back in the day, wasn't he, Nicola? Pit lane reopens then in just under 50 seconds time, so thankfully a short interruption after the quick clean-up operation, just to clear away and sweep away some of the gravel after Fabio Quartararo's turn 4 crash. So as you can see there on the right hand side of your pictures, we are 30 seconds away from the resumption to complete the final 30 minutes or so of this practice session. That was before, unfortunately, Fabio Quartararo was chewing a bit of gravel at turn 4 rather reluctantly.
Taking a Yamaha around the side of the face as well. Fortunately, as mentioned, he walked away. Partly you might be thinking, just leave that Yamaha there, quite frankly, the way it's currently running for him at the moment. We have got Alex Rins still up there in 4th place. Of course, we did see him getting towed around at the very start of the session. Quartararo's 17th, Miller 19th, and Toprak Razgatlioglu currently in 20th. And as we've already touched upon, Quartararo is perhaps the most extreme example of the 4 Yamahas that are seriously lacking straight line speed.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Rins with that toe behind Bagnaia, sort of putting a bit of gloss on what's a gloomy picture right now for Yamaha. And you go down to their other riders, Fabio Quartararo 1.5 seconds off Bezzecchi early on in that session, Miller 1.8 seconds back, and Toprak Razgatlioglu, well, his rather nightmarish rookie season in MotoGP continues. He's just over 2 seconds off of the best pace. No doubt a bit of medical checkup and a wardrobe change possibly for Fabio Quartararo after his spill at turn 4. Let's get an update on the Frenchman from Jack in pit lane.
Yeah, the good news is, as you guys saw walking away, his close friend and manager Tom Mobon just giving me the indication there that he is absolutely okay. Just a little bit of pain in that right arm. He has gone to the medical centre, I think, just to get it checked over, but the plan is that we will see Fabio back out in this session pretty swiftly. The good news, all okay for the Frenchman.
Good stuff, thanks as always, Jack. Thanks to Tom Mobon, Fabio Quartararo's factory Yamaha, his personal manager, of course. This is what happens when you're so down on top speed, when you're getting absolutely killed on the 1.14 1 kilometre Mugello straight. You have to take risks in the braking zones, you have to take risks in the corner to try and find any kind of time, try and make up the deficit, and sometimes you just do push over that limit, as Fabio Quartararo found out to his cost at turn 4 on that occasion.
You can see Toprak here is right up behind Marco Bezzecchi. There's Fabio Quartararo, who'll be making his way into the Yamaha box any moment now. So clearly has been given the thumbs up at the medical centre and will be, albeit only with 1 bike now available at his disposal, set to rejoin this practice session. Of course, Quartararo very recently, back-to-back Q2 appearances, even if one of those back at the French Grand Prix, of course, at home, did come via Q1. Does feel as if he's got a bit of an uphill climb to make that 3 in a row.
Yeah, amazingly going for 3 top 6 finishes in a row in MotoGP for the first time in 4 years, as he starts the inquest here with his crew chief. Out you picture Diego Ghibellini, a few Yamaha engineers hanging on every word of Fabio Quartararo. Quite understandably so. I mean, It's mission impossible, isn't it? Mission impossible. You're giving up so much time on this start-finish straight, as the Yamahas are. As Alex Rins has proven, you can do a time with the slipstream, but you can't keep doing that for, what, 11 laps in the sprint, 23 laps in the Grand Prix. You're just going to get picked off and picked off. Yellow flags out in turn 1, San Donato, and it's Jack Miller. So more Yamaha misery, unfortunately. We've had Quartararo down at turn 4, and now with a rather frustrating trudge away from his crash, it's Pramac Yamaha's Jack Miller who's on the floor at turn 1.
He's going to come through the picture already on his side there into turn number 1. Once again, further graphic proof of just how hard these Yamaha riders are having to push at the moment.
That went early, didn't it? That went really early. Okay then, KTM had a pretty tough Saturday and Sunday, didn't they, over in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago. Are they on course maybe to break their own top speed record here in Mugello this weekend? Let's get some thoughts from KTM Motorsport Director Pit Byra, who joins Jack.
Yeah, an emotional weekend for everybody in Barcelona, but I imagine none more so than for you, Pit, when the emotions, the adrenaline started to sap away on Sunday evening into Monday morning, and you started to take account of what happened. Did you really start to appreciate what a missed opportunity it was in Barcelona?
Well, honestly, I'm really super thankful that we didn't have any heavy injuries. I mean, not heavy, I mean, there are some real serious injuries out there. But so I think, first of all, we have to be thankful for that. Then you need to look, of course, and analyze what happened result-wise for us. And yeah, that was pretty tough to swallow, like where we could finish Friday in first position, take a pole. Yeah, just almost win that sprint race on Saturday, and then yeah, lead 3 restarts and until the very end, and then it's like for Pedro with empty hands. So that was really a tough, yeah, just a tough weekend. And then even Monday morning again for the test, everything was fine again from the speed. So general performance was there, outcome was really terrible. So yeah, I think like everybody expected, it was a tough KTM week right after Barcelona.
How do you go about picking everybody up within the team and making sure that that energy is still there coming into this weekend?
Why, I'm just so happy for the team we have. I mean, it's like this team just worked all Sunday to Monday, nights through to have a great test on Monday, and then Pedro could perform, felt good on the track, and we made a step with Maverick, who went even faster on Monday than in qualifying. So yeah, we just keep working, and honestly, I don't need to motivate that team. The team is just motivating me and whole KTM for all the effort they're putting in.
Just finally, I saw a familiar face in the box this morning, Mr. Kurt Trebe, who has been so important to the engine design and the engine performance here at KTM. It seems as though his holiday to Japan was quite short-lived.
Yes, yes, that's true. I mean, it was never a secret that I was really sad when he left, but I was also underlining all the time that we stayed friends every single moment, even during the split. And that was a really good base to talk to him very early and ask him if he's happy in Japan. And yeah, obviously he was not. So we could bring him back, and I'm just happy. I think Kurt is one of us. He belongs to us, and now he's back home. And I think also just exactly the right moment within this.
Gain as Fabio Quartararo looks to gain some lap time around this Mugello circuit, and he's going to need to find at least half a second to have any hope of troubling the Q2 places or the automatic Q2 places. He has got himself a nice new shiny set of Alpine Stars Yamaha leathers. If anybody is going to be able to block out adversity and find a special lap around Mugello, because that's what he's built his career on, it will be Fabio Quartararo.
KTMs, who we were discussing a moment ago, though, they also do need to find some pace in the final 21 minutes. We've got Bastianini in 8th at the moment, but the other trio of KTMs, Vinales down in 12th. Binder and Acosta are, well, Acosta's just ahead of Binder, 15th and 16th respectively. They are the best part of a second and a half off the pace, respectively. So also the RC16's in need of some improvements at the moment. We've got Aprilia first and second. We've got a Ducati third, Yamaha fourth, Ducati fifth, Aprilia sixth and seventh, KTM eighth, Ducati out again ninth, and as it stands, the one Honda heading through to Q2, if you put the flag out now, would be the rookie at LCR, Diogo Moreira. Yeah,
Bezzecchi's decision to go early on a soft rear tyre has already paid off big style, hasn't he? He got a 45.024 in as a nice marker, a nice reference. Catch him if you can was the message from the factory Aprilia camp. So Bezzecchi already threatening 44s, and that was on his opening time attack. Michele Pirro standing in this weekend in Mugello, at least, for the absent Alex Marquez. Once again, we send our best wishes for a speedy recovery to Alex. We know he's not here this weekend in Mugello after that nasty incident with Pedro Acosta in Barcelona. He's definitely ruled out of next weekend's Grand Prix of Hungary as well. Although at the moment, all the Gresini Ducati have told us, and they've told the world, is that Pirro's in for Alex this weekend. It has not been announced who will be on that usually stickered 73 Gresini Ducati in Balaton. We talk that they're waiting for Nicolo Bulliger to be available. Would Bulliger have been the preferred pick this weekend had he not had World Superbike obligations over at Motorland Aragon? What is not in doubt, though, is Michele Pirro is the occupier of that Gresini Ducati here this weekend, and he's just put in his best time, a 1:47.555.
Yeah, that compares to a 47.4 he actually did earlier on this morning in free practice one, so still potentially some time on the table for Pirro. Was 16th earlier on today on the medium rear tyre. As far as the other substitute is concerned this weekend, Cal Crutchlow is in 22nd. He's done a 48.381 in this session as Crutchlow, so he's improved by a second and a half on what he did earlier on today. Yeah, that last lap from Pirro was his 12th of the session, and he's probably done about 12 million laps around Mugello in his career. Of course, I think Michele Pirro could probably do a 47.5 around this track one-handed and blindfolded. He knows every single millimetre of this circuit, doesn't he? Always a trusted stand-in, trusted sub-rider down the years. Michele Pirro, 39 years of age now himself. The combined age of our two replacement riders, almost 80 years of age, isn't it, between Cal Crutchlow and Michele Pirro. As Alex Rins, well, he's hanging on to that place inside the top 5 at the moment. 4th place for the factory Yamaha rider. Aided and abetted by the tow he got behind Bagnaia early on in the session. There's Julian Simon, former 125cc world champion. He's a pretty darn good Grand Prix motorcycle race himself
wasn't he, someone back in the day, still very much an integral part of Yamaha, rider coach and rider analyst. As Fabio Quartararo then looking to regain some confidence and find his flow around Mugello once again.
And I guess the lack of a toe up ahead of him, Pirro's up the road and is, I think, going to come up the pit lane. So Quartararo, he's not really the kind of rider that generally does look for someone to follow. It's not really his style, because he's as fast as anyone over a single lap anyway. A French fan who's already getting themselves into World Cup mode with the number 20 bucket hat to boot as well. It's quite an aesthetic for that particular Fabio Quartararo fan, as his hero, Fabio Quartararo, now tackles San Donato and trying to ride beyond the limits and capabilities of the bike he's on.
I'm guessing he's French.
What gives you that idea?
Yeah, I mean, talk about nailing your colours to the mast anthem. Yeah, brilliant to see small pockets of French fans here. Unfortunately, they'd have been hoping to have been showing their allegiance. Oh, crikey. Quartararo was,
Careful, you break your left hand, Fabio.
Count to 1,000, Fabio. Count to 1,000, because as the conditions reach boiling point, so too does Fabio Quartararo's temper. He was almost on the floor once again, going through that turn 4-5 flip-flop, and he thought about punching the tank, didn't he? Got away with that one, didn't he, Fabio?
It's not his corner, this one, is it? Over consecutive visits to Mugello on the left-hand side. Front end, his right foot was almost up in line with his head, and then he was so close to burying the left fist into the screen of that factory Yamaha.
Yeah, this is not him just testing his shoulder out there. This is him showing some pretty impressive restraint, because, yes, I mean, this is Fabio Quartararo, a MotoGP world champion. Probably in terms of pure out-and-out talent, you have to say he's arguably top 3 on the grid. Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta maybe completing that podium at the moment, given the kit underneath him. A shadow of the rider that we know he is. Still on occasion, he is capable of showing flashes of pure out-and-out brilliance, pure genius, but unfortunately this weekend at the fastest Grand Prix track in the world, on the slowest MotoGP bike in the world right now, not even the brilliance of Fabio Quartararo can get a turn out of that M1.
No, he just went across the finish line and he registered 339 Ks. Now, the finish line is slightly before the actual top speed trap marker, which is much nearer to turn 1, but that is still the thick end of 15 kilometers an hour down. Here's turn 4 again. This time he is safely round, but he's already dropped 0.4 of a second relative to Marco Bezzecchi, who admittedly is 6/10 clear of the field, but yeah, the temper certainly moving towards boiling point for Fabio Quartararo, and a Q2 place looks a remote possibility right now.
He has produced some magic single laps over the last couple of years or so. He's certainly going to need to find something super special once again here. Then last quarter of this practice session underway. Now it is time for the serious business to commence here in Mugello. Who's going to be inside that top 10? As it stands in right now, as you can see on the timing town, left-hand side of your screens, it's Bez, the World Champs leader, Agura, Bagnaia, Rins, Miguel Antonio, Martin, Fernandez, Bastianini, Aldeguer and Moreira. They are your 10 rides at the moment that are going through. But trust us, that is going to chop and change quite dramatically in the final 15 minutes. This is what the best riders in the world do. What was it, 15, 20 minutes or so ago, Fabio Quartararo was on his backside, rolling through the gravel trap at turn 4, but here he is now again, going full pelt, close to 345 kilometers an hour down the start-finish straight. Nothing going for Fabio, though, on this lap at all, is there, as he comes over the line. That's a 146.931, which is 0.4 outside of his own best time so far in this session.
Yeah, and he's probably on that bike thinking he's taking unbelievable risks, and no one can ride that bike any quicker than him right now. He's nowhere near Q2 at the moment, half a second back. We're trying to pick up Ferdinand Aldeguer, who's somewhere in the third sector, so he's behind this quartet that we're watching on track. You'll see Aldeguer, I think, at some point just at the top of the picture because he's in the Biondetti chicane now. And Aldeguer currently 9th, but could potentially slot into that gap between Bezzecchi and Agura here.
Was that some factory Ducati tactics at play there? Marc Marquez slotting in behind Pecco Bagnaia, just using Bagnaia as a slipstream, as a bit of a reference to try and help Marc Marquez advance directly into Q2. Once again slotting himself in behind those factory Dukes was Alex Rins. We know that Alex is capable of high 145s when he's got a bit of a toe. Femi Aldeguer, that is some lap by Aldeguer, all on his Todd as well, all on his lonesome, and there's more tech problems right now than for Brad Binder. This is the second time today that we've seen Brad Binder run into tech issues. He had a clutch issue, didn't he, on the start in Barcelona. At the moment, Brad Binder down in 16th place. Oh, dear me, what's happened to KTM's reliability issues of late? Well, they've gone AWOL.
Yeah, and of course, we've already seen KTM's have problems on straights recently. Fortunately, no one right behind Brad Binder on this occasion, as Alex Marquez was in Barcelona, immediately putting his left hand up to warn riders behind him that his bike has a problem. Doesn't appear to be any sort of ride-out device issue. He's having a good look there in the direction, I think, of the chain, but whatever the cause of the problem is, it sent Brad Binder on a walk back up pit lane to get his second KTM.
If this is deliberate, if this is a ploy...
Red flag's out.
Red flag.
I think it's because the KTM's at the side of the racetrack.
Yeah, so the red flag is out. Brad Binder on the exit of pit lane, where he had little choice but to park his RC16. So for the second time, that's a real shame as well for Marc Marquez, because he was flying. He was potentially on course for the fastest time of the day so far, just slotting in behind his teammate Pecco Bagnaia. So now the marshals will sprint up pit lane to try and retrieve Brad Binder's KTM RC16. So KTM, the cause of yet another red flag, as the tech crew look on and Brad Binder starts to relay information about exactly what caused that stoppage. But yeah, Marc Marquez, well, he was flying. So too was Bagnaia. We could have actually had a factory Ducati 1-2 if they'd been able to complete that lap. But with just a second under 12 minutes of practice remaining, we have our second red flag of the afternoon.
Essentially, the tyre is wasted for the factory Ducatis, for everyone who went out on the racetrack. And to underline the point you made about 5 minutes ago, once again, that decision of Bezzecchi to go early on a soft rear tyre is looking even better, isn't it? With yet another stoppage to the session, and that's Davide Tardozzi's reaction when he sees the red flag come up on his screens. And that Brad Binder did all he could, pulled off the racetrack as soon as he could, but of course you're not going to send marshals out there when the riders are going about 10, 20 feet to their left at 350 kilometers an hour.
Davide Tardozzi knew, he knew that his riders were sailing at that stage into Q2. And Marc Marquez, at that stage, well, where he still is, was 13th with a best of a 146.263. So the 93 will be ruining that red flag. Brad Binder's crew get his second bike fired into life. It's going to once again be a very short intervention, thankfully, as the marshals, great work as always, the volunteers quickly on scene to retrieve Brad Binder's KTM. So Bagnaia didn't need that last lap as much as what Marc Marquez did, because Pecco, as you can see on the timing tower, is already safely inside that top 10 as it stands at the moment. Fourth quickest with a 45.697. But clearly he was trying to offer a bit of a helping hand to Marc Marquez, who unfortunately, with the red flag, stuck outside of that top 10 right now.
So they'll at least be able to wheel that bike. If it's a quick diagnosis for KTM, then potentially they could still get that bike out there. Of course, the stoppage to the session does at least play into their hands, with Brad Binder, of course, on foot, making his way back to the KTM box. Binder down in 16th place at the moment, and that is his one remaining fully functioning KTM, or certainly we hope it is, that's about to leave pit lane at the resumption. Will that have cost, though, a bunch of riders in this field one of the brand new soft rear tyres that they would have had earmarked for this session?
Jack, let's go quickly back down to you in pit lane.
Yeah, just on what Lewis was saying, it will have cost every single one of them that soft rear tyre. I imagine we're going to see in these final 12 minutes now just one go at it with a brand new rear tyre at the back of it. It's going to make it fascinating watching, because those outside of the top 10 cannot afford to make a mistake.
Thanks very much, Jack. So in the hottest conditions of the weekend so far, it's time for some hot laps here in Mugello. Visor down, We head down very, very shortly at about 360 kilometres an hour for Jorge Martin. The Martinator 7th. He certainly won't be able to relax with the 45.769. He'll feel like he needs plenty more to secure his place in Q2. He's got about 0.3 of a second or so to play with. It's super tight, actually, from Antonio, Martin, Fernandez and Bastianini are covered by 0.05 of a second. That quartet 6 down to 9th. Bit of a gap, then just over 1/4 of a second back to Moreira in 10th place. But it's all eyes on Marc Marquez 13th. Pedro Acosta, of course, our most recent pole starter in Catalonia. Acosta's got some work to do. He's 15th, and at this stage of the weekend has not really been anywhere near threatening a 45.
Now here he is. We saw him almost putting his fist through his KTM earlier on today during FP1 when he was getting a little bit irritated with the way his RC16 was behaving. So crucial 10 minutes here in this session. Potentially a slightly used rear tyre available for this first run, and then the one remaining soft rear that they would have had planned for this session will then go in for the final run. 10 minutes remaining in this session. Marc Marquez sitting and waiting. So clearly he's not going to go back out on the tyres that he had already run, certainly not at this moment. Potentially with that one further soft rear tyre, just saving it for one final attack.
It's funny how things change. You remember back in the day when Marc Marquez was the enemy of Ducati at Repsol Honda, and he used to sort of sit behind Ducatis at Mugello to try and find a hot lap time, much to the ire of Bologna management and to some of their riders at the time as well. Well, now, of course, very much within the Ducati family, very much in the Ducati camp, and needing a little bit of help, which we don't say too often, is Marc Marquez. This is a beautiful shot. Look at that. Jorge Martin braking from 358 kilometres an hour down to 89 kilometres an hour. One of the hardest braking zones, longest braking zones on the Grand Prix calendar. Just about the biggest upper body workout you'll get on a MotoGP bike. And when you're doing that 34 times a weekend in Mugello, certainly at full speed racing laps, one of the toughest mental and physical challenges of the campaign. There's Marc Marquez, as you can see. He's in excess of 350 clicks when he's grabbing a handful of front brake as well. So we will never know if that lap that Marquez was on was going to be putting him in the Q2. It certainly looked like he was. He just set the best second sector of the session before the red flags abruptly halted his progress.
Yeah, I didn't see Bagnaia in the picture there with Marc. So yeah, Marc's left the pit lane. Bagnaia is still in the pit. So Marc, at least on this run, is going to have to do it all on his own.
Jorge Martin immediately in the groove. He's quickly found his rhythm. Very impressive, this by the Martinator on his first flying lap. You can see he's potentially going to knock Bersecchi out of P1. There is Jorge, just might be getting a little bit balked here by Razgatlioglu's Pramac Yamaha. You could just see there, Jorge felt like he might have just had to have made a move on Toprak going down the hill into Correntine. Wasn't close enough, but that might have cost him that small advantage he had through the Seguier he has. He's lost him a whole chunk of time. So Toprak traffic really impeding Martin at the worst possible moment there.
Yeah, and Toprak was on his own lap just trying to push. He wasn't going slowly in terms of trying to hold someone up. He was pushing, but of course got caught in the wrong part of the racetrack by Costa, who still went 5th on a 45.6 without all that. Martin's clearly lost time too in the last stage of the lap, so he didn't improve, stays in 9th. Miller on the Pramac Yamaha, clearly with some added slipstream. He's got up into the top 3.
It can be done. We saw Alex Rins on a Yamaha occupy, what, 4th as highest in the session earlier on. He was inside the top 3, wasn't he? Now Miller's gone there, so if you can get a slipstream, it's really the only prayer that Yamaha have got, isn't it, in this Italian Grand Prix. So Miller finds a 45.617. Chapeau to the Australian. He's been on the floor himself at Standinato, turn 1 already early on in this session. So we're just 1M1 at his disposal. That is some lap, that by Miller. He'll be desperately hoping that he can stay there as Marc Marquez just has a look over his left shoulder. Just behind him on circuit, he'll find Fabio Di Gianantonio. So this is Marc now just building up some temperature in those tyres. Just a brief listen now as he went through that seamless shift gearbox to around 350 kilometres an hour. Jorge Martin now to second lap on that soft rear tyre. He's trying to make it work. He needs the time as well, does Martin. He's been pushed back down to 9th place after the big jumps forward by Miller and Acosta.
Yeah, so Ralph Fernandez is now the rider at risk. He's 10th. We've got none of the Hondas at the moment up inside the top 10 because Marini briefly went 10th and was then bumped out. Marc Marquez straight away through the first sector. Doesn't need anyone ahead of him. You don't win 7 world championships at MotoGP level if you can only follow people.
Well, just a test session, this.
Yeah.
It's just a test weekend for Mike. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Look at this by the reigning world champion. Down through Casanova and Savelli. Through the long right hand of the high-speed Arrabbiata. 1 and now 2. He's absolutely blitzed the second sector. So too has Morbidelli. So too has Pecco Bagnaia, who was on a real hot lap. We might have all 3 of those Ducatis occupying place inside the top 10 very, very shortly.
Martin went 3rd, as you saw bottom of the screens, at 1:45.389, so he's nudged ahead of Miller. As Moreira's also threatening. He's right up behind Pecco Bagnaia on the racetrack. Once again, the Brazilian might have got his tactics spot on.
Superb, this by Moreira. These are some impressive times coming in from Marc Marquez, Morbidelli and Bagnaia. We're going to be in the 44s very, very soon, aren't we, here in Mugello. Through Biondetti 1 and 2 goes Marc Marquez. This is just typical of the 33-year-old, isn't it? Back from surgery, back from injury once again, and looking so. Look how aggressive he is with that factory Ducati. Out of the final corner he goes. Lost a bit of time in that third split over the line, and Marc Marquez is fastest. A 1:45.010. We have got our first 1:44 though, and it's right just at the back of your screens. Frankie Morbidelli on the front row in Catalunya. He might be going into Q2 here. Bagnaia, brilliant. 44.808. And where did Moreira end up? 7th with a 1:45.1. Brilliant lap by Moreira.
And Gian Antonio now beats Bagnaia and Morbidelli on a 44.8. So it's Ducati 1, 2, 3, 4. VR46 from factory team, then VR46 and factory 3rd and 4th. Gian Antonio, Bagnaia, Morbidelli and Marc Marquez. Bezzecchi now down to 5th. Rins has gone back into the top 7 as Aldeguer now takes 4th. So it's now an all Ducati top 5. And Miller, from looking very good a moment ago in 3rd, he's now shuffled all the way down to the edge in 10th.
What was it, a minute ago Miller was 3rd. He's now been pushed back 7 places and clinging on to a place in Q2. Fabio Quartararo, what can he do on the factory Yamaha? We do have 2 Yamahas as it stands right now into Q2. Rins 7th, Miller 10th. And Agura, I was just about to say Agura needs a big lap. He's outside of that all-important top 10 at the moment 11th, but Agura has flown through sector 1. He's up by over a 10th of a second. There were good first sectors from Viñales and Bastianini on the Tech 3 KTMs. What about Quartararo? 18th at the moment. He's going to power the Yamaha to the finish line. And Air goes up into 7th. Quartararo up to 15th. Still not able to do anything better than 1:45.6.
So the rider who might be a little nervous now, sat in the pits, is Jorge Martin, who's now back to 10th place. Remember, he was in Q1 in Barcelona. Agura's rolled out of this particular lap. He's made a mistake somewhere in the second section, which has spared Martin for the moment. Surely he'll be back out of the pits very soon, because he's now having to defend that place in Q2. By the time he leaves the pits, he might be out of the top 10.
Factory KTM's nightmare. Binder 19th, Acosta 16th. Acosta was on pole position a couple of weeks ago in Barcelona. You can see there on the graphic, rider at risk is Jorge Martin. Bezzecchi flying, so too is Bastianini, who just leapt up into 7th place with a 1:45.052. The beast building up towards his first 1:44 of the weekend so far, potentially P1.
Bezzecchi's towing Bastianini around, and if there's one bike on this grid that doesn't need a tow, it's the factory KTM. Fernandez into the final corner. This is going to be nip and tuck this with Martin. We're estimating 10th place. Jorge Martin has now left the pits. He's on an out lap, and he might be about to see himself dumped out of the top 10 by the rider that he tangled with in Barcelona. Fernandez does take his 10th place away.
What about Bez and the Beast? Aprilia versus KTM for top spot potentially here. 1:44.808 is the best time of the day so far. Nothing going as far on the last lap as far as Acosta is concerned. Just giving a close eye on the KTM star. He has just done his personal best first sector. So Acosta 17th, but needs a big lap. What about Bezzecchi and Bastianini? Lost time in the 3rd sector. Bez up to 4th. Better for the Beast up into P3. Surely those two are locked and loaded for Q2.
Yeah, the top 5 all in the 144s. Then Acosta's not giving up on this just yet, and the KTM can clearly do it. But Bastianini has proven, can Pedro Acosta, down in 17th place, rescue his Friday in the final couple of minutes?
Needs a mistake-free lap and needs no yellow flags, doesn't he, Acosta? Here he goes and over the crest into Correntino, then now down the hill, turn 12, build up momentum, then through Biondetti 1 and 2. All about the rapid change of direction in this brilliant fourth sector. Further up the road, we can pick up Martin and Ring, just moving out of your shot, going through the final corner. Sideways goes Agura. He needs a strong final lap. He's going to get one more crack at it. Agura down in P15. Miller, who was third about 5 minutes ago, has now been punted back to 14th place.
Agura then over the line. He's quicker than Acosta, and he's going to stay there. Agura goes 10th. Acosta over the line, then we're waiting for him. He's surely not going to make it. Only 12th for Pedro Acosta. This is his final shot at it.
And Martin then down in 13th place. He has not been the brilliant rebound from the double DNF in Barcelona we were all anticipating. He needs something special on his final lap. Aldeguer, 5th place at the moment, which is some achievement by Aldeguer. Still fighting his way back to full fitness. He's best at 1:45.004. Here is Jorge Martin. He's done a real strong first sector, as it's just popped up on your screens. This is really, really strong by Martin. Through Casanova and Civelli. Has to keep this lap going. So too does Acosta. Two big name Spaniards at the moment, fighting for a place in Q2.
Yeah, we've also got Brad Binder with a fairly strong first sector, who's also trying to lift himself up the order from P18, of course, after his mechanical problems. But real pressure here on Jorge Martin. Of course, we knew how his weekend ultimately panned out after his Q1 appearance in Barcelona. He dare not allow a repeat of that. This is a crucial second half of the lap coming up for the 2024 World Champion.
It's all on the 89. No traffic ahead of him. Nobody impeding him. A little bit out of shape. Look how hard he was pushing. Oh, Acosta. It's over. It's over for Acosta. From pole position in Barcelona to Q1 then here in Mugello. Acosta is going to end that session at best in 12th place. We've got Bastianini taking the checker flag. He's safely through. He's third quickest. What about Martin then? Martin, just look how hard he was. Aggressive down the hill into 12. Aggressive now into 15. Power sliding the rear tyre of that factory Aprilia at the final corner. Martin then 13th as it stands right now. He goes through the gearbox on the RSGB. Over on he goes. He's done it. Is that good enough? Is a 1:45.132 going to see Jorge Martin in Q2?
At the expense of Trackhouse. It's Agura relegated out. He's in an 11th place. We've only got Brad Binder to come over the line. He's not going to get himself into the top 10. So it will be a double for Di Gianantonio on day one here at the Italian Grand Prix. We've got Italians rocking out the top 4 on this Friday afternoon. Have to say, though, shout out to the riders 9th and 10th. RINZ gets the Yamaha through in P9 and a first Q2 appearance for the rookie Diogo Moreira in P10.
Miserable day for KTM. Aside from Bastianini's brilliance, who's in P3, the only rider on a KTM that got anywhere near a 44, and that was a scary moment. That was how hard Acosta was pushing through turn 9, Arrabbiata 2, third gear through there, about 160 kilometers an hour when he ran off into the gravel. That was a hair-raising moment for the number 37, who's going to end the day in 13th place. But there is Fabio Di Gianantonio. Well, he is fast, and at the moment he's pretty phenomenal, isn't he? What a day. What a way to kick off his home round here in the Grand Prix of Italy. Di Gianantonio, fastest this morning in FP1. And he's top dog. He's the top rider in this afternoon session, a 1:44.808. Just 900s clear of Pecco Bagnaia. Both factory Ducatis are safely through. Some job that by Marc Marquez to get him through in 6th place. It's Di Gianantonio, Bagnaia, Bastianini, Morbidelli, Aldeguer, Marc Marquez, Bezzecchi, Martin, RINZ and Moreira. Those 10 safely through then into our second qualifying session tomorrow morning. Acosta, his best, a 145.294. It's only, what, 3/10 behind Bastianini, not a massive margin. But those 3/10, the difference between, well, 10 places splitting those two KTMs. There is Moreira, just pulling him alongside the beast. Well, it's been a tough couple of weeks, to say the least, for LCR Honda. Of course, they're going to be missing long-term Johan Zarco, their star rider, but Diogo Moreira into Q2 for the first time. What a ride from a great rider. Let's get the thoughts from the boss, Lucho. Check it out with Jack.
Yeah, as you can see there on screen, first Q2 appearance for the rookie Lucho. He's been so close on a number of occasions, but what a performance that is. You must be delighted for you and all the team.
I'm really, really pleased. We knew that after Barcelona test, we finished Barcelona test, we have found a little improvement, you know, and he was much more confident on the bike. He said that he definitely felt that we have made a step forward, and this was the confirmation, so very happy.
And the rest of the team are as well. He gets swamped as he comes into the box, and quite rightly as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Brilliant scenes then down at LCR Honda. What a lap this was. What a lap this was. Look at that, all action. Leaving it all on the line, wasn't he, Jorge Martin? Power sliding the factory Aprilia through turn 15. And when he needed a big lap, he delivered a big lap. That was the end of Jorge Martin's 145.132. Better late than never. His best time on lap 25 of 25. That's put a smile on the face of MotoGP legend, 4x 250cc world champion Max Biaggi, of course, Aprilia ambassador. So the top two riders in the World Championship, the two factory Aprilias into Q2. Bez 7th, Martin 8th. But it's Fabio Di Gianantonio that is the reference rider. P1 on Sunday in Barcelona and P1 in both sessions on Friday here in Mugello. Digia just 26 points behind Bez in the World Championship. Fabio Di Gianantonio, well, he's never had back-to-back wins in his Grand Prix career at any level, but at the moment he's looking the favourite to potentially pull off a dream double in Barcelona and here in Mugello. Bezzecchi with the pack to start. That's an absolute pearler. That's a beaut from Bez. They'll be loving that one. Pecco Bagnaia second quickest, tight at the top, not even a 10th, splitting him and Digia. And perhaps more importantly and more significantly, what a boost this is for the Ducati and for the reigning world champion. Marc Marquez, courtesy of a 145.010. He is through to Q2 as well in P6.
Yeah, the Aprilias, the factory Aprilias are through 7th and 8th, but potentially some food for thought for them because it's been a bit of a show of strength from the Bologna Bullets. We're just an hour or so away from Bologna and Ducati's headquarters in Borgo Panigale. And they were 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th and 6th today. The Ducatis that have gone automatically through into qualifying 2. Of course, we've got Pirro on Alex Marquez's Gresini bike, so no realistic expectations of him going through. But as far as the rest of the Bologna Bullets are concerned, they've made a bit of a statement today.
You can see where Martin needs to find time. He's getting destroyed in that 3rd sector. That is where he's losing the majority of his lap time. Of course, it's a very, very physically demanding 5.245 kilometre layout, this Mugello circuit. And in that sector 3, you've got to be throwing that motorcycle from side to side quite a lot of fast change direction, which will be certainly taxing on the upper body, the recovering upper body, particularly on the right side for Marc Marquez. So the fact that he's in the game 6 is a brilliant performance, that by Marc. Just there, stretching out the shoulders, stretching out the right arm. Nothing's come easy in 2026 so far for the 33-year-old, but he has a tendency to do things the hard way, doesn't he, Marc Marquez? But he's through, and his main goal, his main ambition on day 1 here in Mugello would have been to make sure that by hook or by crook he's in Q2. Last thing he really needed was an extra 15 minutes on track in Q1, and it is job done as far as Marc Marquez is concerned. Job done though once again by Digia and VR46 Racing. Valentino Rossi used to win for fun as a rider around his home circuit here in Mugello. We have that extra special feeling as well of being a winning team owner, because Fabio Di Gianantonio has set his stall out in superb style already on day 1. P1 in both sessions. Digia dominant once again.
Digia does the double on Friday at his home Grand Prix. And for Ducati, they had 5 of the top 6 today. Di Gianantonio from Pecco Bagnaia and Enea Bastianini. Frankie Morbidelli 4th. Of course, he went through Q1 to the front row last time out in Barcelona. He's into Q2 this time. Aldeguer 5th from Marc Marquez. Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin 7th and 8th for Aprilia. Rins gets a Yamaha through in 9th. And Moreira ensures that all 5 manufacturers are represented in Q2 as he puts his LCR Honda 10th. Neither of the Trackhouse riders are through, nor Pedro Acosta 4th in the World Championship. He was only 13th today.
Yeah, further down, Jack Miller at one stage was inside the top 3 later on in that practice session. He was only 16th fastest ahead of Fabio Quartararo. Brad Binder had more technical issues on the factory KTM. He was 18th. Fabio Di Gianantonio's early work done on a new medium front soft rear tyre. He was doing high 146 towards the end of that 3rd run. And look at that, a 144.808 when he went on fresh soft rubber at the end of the session. Digia in P1.
Bagnaia in P2 and looking like he might well challenge for a 4th Italian Grand Prix victory. Just 900ths of a second in the end between himself and his fellow Italian Di Gianantonio.
The Beast, loving life in front of his home crowd. He knows what it takes to have a MotoGP podium around this Mugello circuit. Top KTM by some distance. The only KTM rider in the 44s on day 1 here. Enea Bastianini once again back inside the top 3 on home turf.
And completing an all-Italian top 4 is Frankie Morbidelli, who did have some lap times deleted partway through the session, and of course a run curtailed by the red flag for Brad Binder's incident. He did eventually though get down into those crucial 144s to secure 4th place.
What about the sector times? Who's hot and who's not? Pecco Bagnaia leading the way on that run down to San Donato ahead of Bastianini and Ayagura in 3rd.
Sector 2 dominated by at least Ralph Fernandez. Wasn't enough to book him a place in Q2 though.
Sector 3, Di Gianantonio supreme once again. Nobody with a 10th of the Italian in the 3rd split.
Sector 3 was clearly weak for Marc Marquez. Not Sector 4 though, as he was fastest from Bezzecchi through there.
So in the Grand Prix of Italy, are the Italians doing a job on the rest of the MotoGP field as Fabio Di Gianantonio, Pecco Bagnaia, Enea Bastianini and Frankie Morbidelli lock out the top 4. But Digia done good once again. What a Friday to open his account here on home soil. The Catalan Grand Prix winner in P1 once again here on day 1 in Mugello.